Some nights, it's not sleep that we're really craving, it's peace. Not noise, not more thoughts, just stillness. I made this video for that kind of night. When you want to let go of the day, gently. When your body is tired but your mind still holds on. This is not just another bedtime video. It's a space for release. A quiet offering of Buddhist wisdom, to help you fall asleep with peace. Letting go, breath by breath, until your whole being softens and surrenders. Close your eyes, let the noise of the world fade, just for a little while. This moment isn't for striving, it isn't for chasing, it's for returning to the quiet rhythm of your breath, to the gentle stillness within you. Tonight, we're not falling asleep to more ambition or urgency. We're falling asleep to a wiser way of living, one rooted in right effort. Right effort isn't about pushing harder. It's not about forcing yourself to become someone you're not or demanding instant transformation. It's more like tending a garden. You don't scream at a seed to grow. You simply water it, protect it from weeds, and trust in time. In the same way, you care for your mind. You gently remove what hinders your growth, fear, doubt, restlessness, and you nourish what supports it, patience, presence, compassion. With every breath, you act with care, and then, you make space. You allow the fruits of your effort to unfold in their own season. But in this modern world, we've been trained differently, haven't we? We expect speed, instant results, immediate reward. We're taught to believe that if our efforts don't lead to quick success, they're worthless. But the Dharma teaches something else. Right effort says, the process itself matters. Your presence matters. Your intention, why you're doing something, is just as important as what you're doing. This isn't about lowering your standards or giving up on your goals. It's about shifting your energy, from desperation to clarity. When you move from right effort, you're no longer trying to twist life into your image. You're flowing with it. You're listening before acting, feeling before choosing. You don't just pick what's fast, you pick what's skillful. And in doing so, you conserve your energy. You don't burn out chasing every desire or trying to fix every problem. You move in harmony with what's real. And sometimes, that rhythm is slow. Sometimes, right effort means resting. Sometimes, it means doing less, not from laziness, but from wisdom. After all, don't you think knowing when to stop is just as vital as knowing when to begin? Right effort asks for discernment. It invites you to pause and examine not just what you're doing, but how you're doing it. Are you pushing from fear? Are you racing forward to avoid discomfort? Or are you acting from a calm, grounded place within you? These questions don't slow you down, they guide you. They help you align your actions with your inner truth. And when that alignment happens, everything changes. Your actions carry a different energy. They become clean, steady, and unburdened. You stop clinging so tightly to outcomes, because you've come to trust the process itself. Even if things don't go as you hoped, you know your effort mattered. It shaped your character. It strengthened your integrity. It refined your path forward. Right effort also helps you recognize a subtle danger, the moment when effort becomes attachment. When trying turns into obsession. When persistence starts feeling like resistance. That's when it's time to pause. Not to quit, but to realign. Sometimes the most courageous act is letting go, not of your values, but of your need for things to turn out a certain way. This isn't surrender in weakness. It's surrender in wisdom. It's the willingness to return to center and trust that when you do what's yours to do, the rest will unfold in its own time. Planning is still part of the path, but with right effort. You hold your plans lightly. You aim, but don't cling. You move forward, but stay open to change. You allow life to speak back to you, to surprise you, because true effort isn't rigid, it's responsive. It also honors the body. It doesn't ignore your fatigue or override your pain. It values sustainability more than intensity. It listens for when to slow down, when to nourish yourself, when to rest, and most of all, it trusts that rest isn't failure. That pausing doesn't mean giving up. Sometimes, the most skillful thing you can do is stop, just long enough to feel what's true before you move again. This level of care brings balance. You stop swinging between extremes, between overexertion and collapse. You find steadiness. Your energy becomes consistent, like a quiet flame, not always chasing, not always recovering, just being, moving in rhythm with what is needed, right here, right now. Right effort even changes how you respond to failure. When you're not attached to outcomes, failure loses its sting. It becomes feedback, not judgment. You reflect, you adjust, you try again. No drama, no shame, just a quiet commitment to stay on the path, to keep showing up, even when results are unclear. And this teaches humility, not the kind that makes you small, but the kind that helps you see clearly. You stop needing to prove yourself. You act because it's the right thing to do, not because it will earn you applause. Your actions become an offering, pure and peaceful. Let that truth settle into you as you rest. Let go of striving, let go of needing to know. Right effort doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for presence. Let your breath be your guide tonight. Fall asleep knowing you don't have to force anything. Your sincerity is enough. Your path is unfolding, and you are right where you need to be. As you continue walking this path, something begins to shift. You move no longer from ego, but from service. And that quiet shift, almost invisible at first, changes everything. Others feel it, too. Your presence becomes more grounded, more trustworthy. Your words start to carry weight. Not because you speak louder, but because you speak from alignment. There's a kind of power that doesn't need to push. People can sense when you're not trying to take something from them, when you're not reacting impulsively, when you're steady, rooted. And that rootedness is the true source of your strength. This kind of effort also reshapes discipline. It's not the harsh kind born from force or guilt. It's the clear, steady kind that comes from purpose. You no longer rely on tricks to motivate yourself. You don't need to hype yourself up when your energy is in alignment. When you know what matters to you, discipline becomes natural, almost effortless. Your actions begin to flow directly from your deepest values. And yet, right effort is never rigid. It always carries compassion. You allow yourself to be human, to have off days, to make mistakes. You don't turn discipline into punishment. You turn it into care. You hold yourself accountable, but gently. You begin again, not because you failed, but because you're still growing. You rise, not from shame, but from understanding. And slowly, this way of effort becomes your natural way of being. You stop chasing intensity. You start choosing consistency. You stop reacting to every little setback. And instead, you respond with presence. You stop demanding speed from life. And you begin trusting that slow, steady steps lead to real, lasting change. This is how right effort builds resilience. Not the kind that hardens and disconnects, but the kind that adapts. The kind that learns. The kind that stays deeply connected. You begin to trust something simple but powerful. You don't have to fight your way to peace. You can walk there. You can arrive, breath by breath, step by step, by staying true to what's real. Right effort doesn't promise comfort. It promises alignment. It doesn't shield you from hardship. It prepares you to meet it with strength and openness. It doesn't erase uncertainty. It teaches you to move through uncertainty with grace. And in this way, effort becomes less about what you can achieve, and more about who you are becoming. Not in the eyes of others, but in the quiet, unshakable place inside your own heart. Because deep down, you know, you showed up fully, you moved with care, you stayed connected to what really matters. And that is enough. That is the path. One step, one breath, one honest effort at a time. And as right effort begins to soften your attachment to outcomes, you begin to feel something deeper beneath all striving. A quiet, sacred truth, that everything you build, everything you experience, everything you become, is touched by change. You can act with clarity. You can walk with care. But none of it is permanent. Even the most meaningful progress will one day fade. This truth isn't a reason to despair. It's an opening, an invitation, a call to deepen your trust, not only in how life unfolds, but also in how life fades. And nowhere is this invitation more clear than in the Buddhist reflection known as the 5 remembrances. The 5 remembrances are not meant to frighten us. They are simple, quiet truths. They aren't spoken to weigh the heart down, but to awaken it. They remind us of what we often forget: that life is impermanent, that illness, aging, and death are part of the path, that all we love will change, will pass. At first glance, these reflections may seem heavy, but they are not here to burden the soul. They are here to open it. Because when you remember what is inevitable, you stop pretending that you have endless time. You stop avoiding life, and you begin to meet it with honesty, presence, and love. And so we arrive at the first remembrance. And so we arrive at the first remembrance. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. This truth is more than a reminder of physical aging. It's a quiet recognition that everything, our bodies, our identities, even our memories, will shift and change with time. Aging is not a failure. It is movement. It is the natural unfolding of life itself. Nothing that has form can stay the same. And this can either fill us with fear, or bring us clarity. When you truly accept the reality of aging, you begin to live in better rhythm with life. You stop clinging to youth as if it defines your worth. You stop measuring yourself by what inevitably fades. And instead, you start honoring the quiet wisdom that only change can bring. You begin to show up, now, instead of postponing your life for later. Because you know, later is not guaranteed. The second remembrance. I am of the nature to become ill. There is no way to escape illness. This isn't a curse. It's not a sentence of doom. It's a gentle reminder that vulnerability is not a flaw in the system, it is the system. Your body, no matter how strong, will have limits. It will ache. It will sometimes break down. But instead of resenting this truth, you begin to care for your body differently. Illness, though painful, brings awareness to what has been ignored. It slows you down when you've been moving too fast. It wakes you up to the moment you're in. Illness becomes a teacher of compassion, not just for yourself, but for others walking through pain. When you accept that health is not permanent, you begin to value it with deeper reverence. You make choices, not from denial, but from care. The third remembrance. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. This is the truth most people spend their lives avoiding. But in Buddhism, we do not look away. We face this truth gently, directly, with full awareness. Death is not a threat. It is part of the great rhythm that holds all things. And when you stop fearing death, you begin to live more honestly. You speak what truly matters. You listen more deeply. You let go of battles that don't need to be fought. You soften. You pay attention. Because death reminds you that time is sacred. Not something to rush through, but something to honor with your whole being. Every breath becomes more precious when you remember. You will not breathe forever. The fourth remembrance. All that is dear to me, and everyone I love, are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. This truth touches the most tender corners of the heart. It brings with it a wave of grief, and also a deep and fierce kind of love. Because when you truly accept impermanence, your love becomes deeper, more awake. You stop taking people for granted. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. And instead, you start saying what needs to be said. You hold those you love not with grasping, but with gratitude. You begin to show up in the moments you have. Because you understand, those are the only real moments we ever get. And this is how real connection is built. In presence, in impermanence, in love that does not cling, but cherishes. The fifth remembrance. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. This final truth brings it all into focus. It is not your status, not your appearance, not your titles or ambitions that follow you. It is your actions, your speech, your choices, the way you treat others, especially when no one is watching. In a world where everything changes, this is what remains. How you lived, what you gave, what you left behind in the hearts of others. Your choices shape not only your outer life, but your inner peace. And the clearer you see this, the more mindfully you begin to live. Not out of fear, but out of deep respect for your own path. These 5 remembrances are not meant to bring dread. They are here to strip away illusion. The illusion that we have forever. The illusion that we can avoid loss. The illusion that life is only good when it's easy. By turning toward what is uncomfortable, you begin to discover a deeper kind of peace. A peace that doesn't depend on things going your way. A peace that lives in alignment with truth. When you reflect on these truths regularly, your trust begins to expand. Not in permanence, but in presence. You stop trying to outrun change. You stop fighting the natural unfolding. And instead, you begin to walk with it. You meet it with courage. You let it guide you. You let it soften you. This trust is not passive, it is alive. It becomes the quiet fire that burns at the center of your life. It means living with intention, because you know that time is short. It means loving fully, because you know people change. It means showing up today, not someday. To live with these 5 truths is to stop waiting for someday. It means releasing resentment more quickly, because you finally see the true cost of holding on. It means choosing integrity, again and again, because your actions are your only real shelter in this changing world. This kind of reflection helps soften the grip of fear. The fear of death begins to lose its power when you stop avoiding it. The fear of aging eases when you understand where it belongs in the natural cycle. And the fear of loss becomes more bearable when you allow yourself to feel it fully. These truths don't hurt you. They liberate you from the illusion that life should be any different than it is. In Tibetan tradition, meditating on death is not considered dark or depressing. It's seen as essential, not to burden the heart, but to clear it, to strip away distraction, to wake you up, to bring your attention back to what truly matters, to remind you to stop living as if time is endless. The fear of death shrinks when you live in alignment with your values, when you stop holding back, when you know, deep down, that you have given what you came here to give. This is the gift of the 5 remembrances. They do not offer despair. They offer courage. The courage to stop postponing life. The courage to love more deeply. To forgive sooner. To listen more closely. To act while you still can. They lead you into a deeper kind of honesty. One that doesn't waste time. One that doesn't pretend. One that lives close to the heart. And from this place, trust begins to deepen. Not trust in safety. Not trust in guarantees. But trust in your own capacity to meet life, just as it is. You stop needing to know what comes next. And you begin focusing on how you meet what is already here. That's where freedom lives, not in control, but in full contact with truth. This reflection also brings something unexpected: tenderness. You start to feel just how fragile everything is. Not in a hopeless way, but in a sacred way. You stop being careless with your time, with your words, with your attention. You begin to hold each moment as something precious. Because it is, and because you know, it will pass. You also stop pretending that you're separate from others. When you reflect on your own aging, illness, and death, you begin to see those same truths in everyone around you. And that awareness brings empathy. It brings connection. It helps you meet others, not from judgment, but from shared humanity. You stop needing people to be perfect. You see that they too are doing their best, in a world that is always changing. And slowly, this awareness transforms the way you live. You stop needing things to last forever. You start treasuring what you have, while you still have it. You begin to live in rhythm with impermanence. You let go more easily. You say thank you more often. You laugh, even when the future feels uncertain. You cry, without apology. And you live, without holding back. This is the depth the 5 remembrances offer. Not a shallow peace built on promises, but a resilient peace, built on presence. Not a comfort built on avoidance, but an understanding rooted in reality. Because once you accept what will inevitably change, you stop wasting energy resisting it. You start using your time wisely. You stop waiting to feel ready. You simply begin, now. And that is how these 5 truths set you free. Not by promising permanence, but by teaching you to trust in what is fully lived, before it fades. So now, as your body sinks deeper into stillness, as your breath softens, as the world around you fades into quiet, let these truths settle in your heart. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to control every outcome. You are not late. You are not broken. You are simply human, growing, changing, learning to walk in rhythm with what is real. And that is more than enough. Let this moment hold you. Let the tenderness of impermanence remind you of how precious you are, of how sacred this breath is, this night, this rest. There is nothing more you need to do right now. Just rest, just be. The path is here, and you are already on it. Good night, dear one. May your sleep be soft. May your heart be light. And may you wake with the quiet strength of truth still resting inside you. If this gentle wisdom brought you peace tonight, you're welcome to subscribe to Daily Dharma Wisdom, where stillness, clarity, and truth are always waiting. Until next time, sleep well.